Hello and welcome to this new episode of Bootstrapping Your Dreams Show. I'm your host Manuj Aggarwal, and today we'll be talking with Steven Kuhn. So Steven has deep-rooted beliefs that building trust and rapport through process he calls HIT, honesty, integrity, and transparency. So HIT is the method which Steven lives his life both professionally and personally. The interesting aspect is that living this way creates integrity on every level. It draws prospects and clients to naturally ascend your value ladder of product or service offerings because part of that value ladder is always their valued relationship with you, which is based on integrity and transforms each and every interaction into a prolonged relationship and not just one-off business transaction. And Steven has used this method across the board. He has helped tens of hundreds of companies, generating over $500 million in revenue. And he has turned around many companies and helped go some of them from an idea stage to go to market. Welcome, Steven.
Hey, thank you so much. What an intro. Awesome.
Why you have a very interesting story. So why don't we start there? I understand you were in the military as well. So how come you started with the military and then went into tech startups? Can you share your life journey with us a little bit?
Well, yeah, I was born in Pennsylvania, USA, and I decided, I wanted to leave there. So I went and joined the Army when I was 18 and left when I was 19 and got stationed in Germany after boot camp. And I loved Europe so much. So after about almost 8 years and one war, I got out of the military, stayed in Europe, and just started my way, which was unknown at the time. I just looked out to connect to people, add value, do what I do best, and just see where it led. And it led to many, many interesting places. So.
Yeah. So, were you? Did you have any technical education, any technical background, or you just sort of fell into it?
At the time, no. And I don't. For what I do, I'm the executive part, so I don't really need to know the technical things. But because I'm the business savvy that I sort of own, really helped these guys either startups or grow or scale and things like that. So I ended up getting my MBA when I was 38, just so I can keep up with the big guns, And it didn't really help me, tell you the truth, because I've been self-employed since 96.
Yeah.
But it was nice to have just in case, I guess. I got that in the UK, so that was quite exciting as well. So no, I didn't really need any of the tech. As long as I understand the concept and what the A to Z is, then I'll make it happen.
Yeah, that's great. And what about some of your experiences in the military? Because I know, the psychology of a person who comes from a military background is obviously different. They really work on the mental aspect of their recruits. So can you tell us what was that experience like, and how did that experience help you in your business career?
It was, you can't pay for that. That's one of those things you can never pay for. Also, with blood, sweat, and tears besides that. But what the military does is it breaks you down. Mm-hmm. All of your preconceived notions about who you are, what you can achieve, what you can do, what you can accomplish, and they break you completely down in boot camp and build you back up again, so that you're a machine, that you can literally do anything you set your mind to. And there was certain times in my career, especially at the beginning, where I found that out. And where I just stood there in awe that I just did something that I knew that I couldn't do. Mm-hmm. And suddenly it was like, wow, it was me the whole time. So once you realize the only thing that can hold you back is your thoughts, you can build upon that to be able to achieve things that you may not even know where it is yet, but you can get to that direction. So that military mindset is, there's a German word, unbezahlbar, priceless. And it literally is priceless.
Would you do you mind sharing that story if you recall it?
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. So it's boot camp. We're doing the obstacle course like you see on TV, crawling under the rope, up the wall, down the other side, up, that kind of stuff, through the mud. And I got to this wall, it was leaning like this, and I'm on this side, and there's no rope, and it's like 2.5 meters high, and everybody's like, they're running and they grab it, they jump over, and I can't do it to save my life. I could not do it. There's no way I could do it. And the drill sergeant, after I tried like 6 times and couldn't even get close, he threw me down in the dirt and stepped on the back of my neck and was calling me all kinds of names like you would. So I literally snapped, like a psychological snap. Well, I want to show you. And I just backed up, ran right over the wall. I landed on the other side. It was like angels. Ooh, I was like, I can't believe I just did that. Like, oh my God, it's incredible. So I ran around, did it again. And it was from that point on, I never had difficulty doing anything because I knew it's just my mind. So if I try and I fall on my head, just try it again. And that was the physical part. But then also, of course, once you get past the physical part, the mind, the let's say the logic sort of blockages that you have, they fall away. If I can do it physically, I can definitely do it in my mind.
Awesome. That's great. And then do you recall any instance where you had similar experience in the business world where, you're working on a deal, working on a startup, whatever, and you thought, this is impossible and it suddenly happened. So can you share any instance?
Yes. Well, when I first got out of the military, I was working in the nightclub scene. So I had cocktail bars and nightclubs. And I had someone approach me, hey, you're such a great service guy. I love talking to you. You make me feel great here. Would you help me? Would you like to help us open a health club chain from South Africa and Germany? Mm-hmm. I was like, sure, no problem. So they made me, the general manager. I had no experience whatsoever. And of course, imposter syndrome, like everyone has. And I was, forced to do things I've never done before. And my trick was, okay, I'm not going to try to do it like anybody else. I'm just going to do what I think my intuition says. Mm-hmm. And I killed it. Like I absolutely massacred the revenue. Like they were like, holy shit, who is this guy? So I got headhunted by a listed company in the UK. And they brought me on as, a very high position and, running a few countries. And then I ran all of Europe and I had no experience. Mm-hmm. Right. So I'm being thrown into this like pit of bulls. Mm-hmm. And I'll never forget the one time I was brand new in the company, went to a meeting in Portugal. There was 130 leaders of the company there. And they asked me to get up and explain a P&L. I'd never seen a P&L in my entire life. So, I sat there and I'm like, in front of all these people, completely embarrassing. They're like, who is this? You just hired this guy? And then they said, okay, we would like to see some role plays for some sales, things. I said, I'll do that. And I just went up. People were standing on the tables going, ooh, ooh, ooh. So I saved myself. I redeemed myself, and that's sort of how I've always been. So I'm not I can read a P&L, of course, obviously, and we work with them all the time. But I'm not the financial guy. I'm not going to do the books. I can do financial triage. I can save your company really quick. I can make sure that you're not going to lose money, and I can generate revenue. But if your book's done and your finance is done, call a bookie. Right? That's always my pitch. Like I don't deal with that. Just too much, for me. I like the visionary forward crafting that vision and that proposition and how is it going to lead into the future and what are we going to make out of it? What's the impact in the world around us? That's my love.
Awesome. And we are in unusual times now, and marketing yourself and selling yourself will be a critical skill, not only for startups, not only for business people, but also people looking for jobs or professionals. So first of all, like, what do you think, what are some of the things that people should really worry about or start to learn, incorporate into their professional careers for the time that is coming in the next 6 years or so?
One thing more than anything, in my opinion, is what problem do you solve? Mm-hmm. What problem are you solving? And of course, if you're an entrepreneur, you have a business, like I'm a consultant, what problem do I solve? I solve immediate impact revenue. So you need revenue right now, I solve that, right? So you need triage to save your company, I solve that problem. So I can pick out my avatar. If you're an employee, right, like I was in that corporation, they only chose me because they knew I could solve a problem that they have and that I knew that they had. Yeah. So I can present my solution to them before they even hired me. Mm-hmm. So if you have a job and you're like, well, my job is to do bookkeeping, right? Well, the problem, they don't have a problem with bookkeeping. That's what you do. Maybe their problem is the team. Maybe their problem is the way that they look at things. Maybe the problem is that their attitudes are bad. What kind of solution can you bring that no one else brings? Yeah. When you have that, and you do one other thing, that is you have an intention of adding value with every interaction that you have, period. Always leave the person you meet, whether it's the bag lady down the street, your mother, or your boss, or your colleague, always leave them in a better place than when you met them. Uh-huh. So they should walk, when you walk away, they should be going, man, what a cool person. Like, wow, I feel great somehow. And they make me feel good. And when you do that, that's solving problems all the way around you. Because you radiate positivity, you create positivity. When you think positive, you radiate, then you create. That's what we call radiant value. So I'm giving value to the people around me. they radiate value, give more radiant value to those around you, and you're creating this world of positivity, and you're actually firing your neurons to never focus on negative anymore, but only to focus on the positive. And people want people like that around. They don't want people bitching in the coffee room, hanging on the water machine. Look at Judy over there, whatever. They want positive people that aren't going to get into political arguments. I don't mean politics, but I mean like company politics, or who's going to bitch about this or complain about the boss or whatever. They want people that are going to be positive and contribute to the team, lower stress, lower conflict, more creativity, more output, that kind of stuff. So as an employee, it's almost easier to stick out than anyone else than it is an entrepreneur. Entrepreneur, you're competing with other people, but if you're with other businesses, but if you're in your job and you're sitting with 10 other accountants, well, that's easy to stick out. Yeah. It's just solve a problem that everyone bitches about. Or everyone knows but no one talks about. You solve that problem without making it, look, I'm solving the problem. Not that. You just do it. Right? Add value. Always be solving problems in everything that you do, and you will always win. Promise you. I promise you.
Awesome. That's great advice. So that is a good segue into the HIT methodology that you talk about. So can you tell us a little bit about that?
HIT, honesty, integrity, and transparency. Online, I get the nickname the Hitman, right? So honesty. And HIT came from it's my core principles of how I live. Honesty with myself and why I do what I do and where that all comes from. And the transparency part is how I take that and step into my world. How do I communicate that honesty, right? Integrity is a byproduct. And that makes me very authentic. So almost like you would say one of a kind, which everyone is, but most people don't allow it to happen. And when you're authentic and you're one of a kind, you can literally dictate your market value. So you're not pinned into one, category. You're not pinned into a salary level or whatever. When I was working for these corporations as a freelancer, I was making more than the CEO. It's the way that I, showed up. Yeah. It wasn't what I said or what I did. It was the way I showed up and the presence that I had. So I own my presence in life. Oh. And that's what HIT, that's the beginning of HIT. So that's the core principles of everything you do. And integrity is real simple for me. Do what you say you're going to do. Don't do what you say you're not going to do. And if you screw up, apologize and make it better. Done. That's integrity. But you can't be integral. You can't be integrity. Integrity is a byproduct of doing the right thing and living your life with purpose and properties. So that's what HIT's all about, and that's where I launched everything from. I started teaching it like 15 years ago. I never called it HIT until like 2 years ago when someone said online, "Oh, you're the Hitman." I was like, "What? Oh my gosh, why did I never think of that?"
All right, great. So here's a follow-up question to that, because I know there are a lot of people struggling right now, and when they listen to all these pieces of advice, obviously it's all good, it all makes sense. But then they come up with a follow-up question. It's easy for you to say, Manuj, it's easy for you to say, Steven, but I've got no job, I've been laid off, whatever, my business is not working. I've got to do whatever I got to do to put food on the table and whatnot. So how do you, if you're going through some tough time, how do you still maintain that integrity? How do you maintain honesty and transparency?
By knowing that the thoughts that you have, for every emotion you can have endless thoughts. It can go for years, right? When you realize your thoughts aren't real, and the things that you're fearing aren't real because you're projecting into the future. When you realize that right now, whatever happens, that's what you got to deal with, and not what may, possibly could happen. You have to deal with right now. And so once you realize, okay, well, if I keep thinking about what might happen, then it's probably going to happen. So stop thinking about it. Flush yourself of that negativity. Look at what you can do and pivot. So, there's like, for instance, the first thing I said when I saw this happen, like, where can I help? I know a guy who has a factory that sells PPE. So I said, hey man, let me help you out. Can I help you out? And he goes, sure. So I introduced him to some government officials, and they're selling masks now. So that was my like first move. Second move was, as I looked, obviously I was online already anyway, and I lost all my clients, by the way. So I lost every single one of them. Wow. So I did turnaround consulting online, and they said, look, we can't afford you, so see ya. So I lost everything. I had to pivot too. So I pivoted to PPE. I pivoted to a few other things. I'm still doing the M&A, which you can do online as well. So that's not a big challenge. It's just the term of the deal is very, very long. Yeah. But we all know this. There's gonna be a lot of millionaires made. Millionaires are made during crisis, always. Millionaires and billionaires are made during crisis. Question is, are you going to be one or not?
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I don't need to be like rude or like, you know, one of those pushy guys, but it depends on you and your attitude about yourself. What's your capabilities? If you believe you're stuck and you can't move forward and you don't have any money because you don't have a job, because you live in a village. I live in a village with 2,000 people in the middle of Hungary. Mm-hmm. There's nothing here, nothing. Yet here I am, right? So how, if me, an American in a foreign country, can be successful, you know, speaking, it's all relative, in the middle of anywhere, then anyone can do it. So literally, I mean, I'm just a knucklehead soldier in the end anyway, right? So the practical skills, you know, you can figure out the practical skills, go on YouTube, look how to do this, how to do that. But it's the mental skills that matter. If you're not willing, if you're not capable to knock down that negativity for positivity and look at the good, and it's like planting a seed and growing. You have to fire those neurons until they connect, and then you see the light, you see the positivity, you see the possibility. Look, I have tough times too. When this happened, I'm like, holy shit, I lost all my clients. Like, wow, my God, what am I going to do? And I thought, what do you mean? What are you going to do? Quit being a wimp, make it happen, right? So I thought, okay, what's the situation? What does everybody need right now? Toilet paper, okay, I can't make that. Masks. I know a guy who has a factory. All right, let me call him up, see what I can do. Right?
Yeah.
Go through your options. What can you do? You can look. When I was homeless in 2008, which I was, after the mortgage crash in Berlin, Germany, I was selling on eBay half bottles of my cologne. So I had a cologne collection. I was selling for €8 plus shipping. You know, shipping was like $24 euros, and I was living from that. You know, I'd sell like 20 bottles a week, and that's how I was living. Yeah. And there's always a way. There's always a way. The problem is this: are you learning along the way, or are you just skipping over the learning part and trying to get to the solution? Yeah, right? You got to learn to find a solution. Yeah. And I know it's all airy and pushy, but until I know a specific situation of someone, what they do, what they're good at, you know, where they're coming from, what they want to achieve, then I can help them like pinpoint. Really, this is what you can do. This is what you can do. This is how you can do it.
But as you said, like, you know, taking personal responsibility and sort of, you know, not sort of getting bogged down by adversity and trying to figure out things is the way to go. And especially right now, you know, I feel like this is a great equalizer. As you said, you know, even larger companies are suffering. In fact, you know, people who have a larger infrastructure, they may be suffering more because they have to deal with, you know, loans and debt and all that stuff. So definitely that advice is on point. Now, let's get into some specifics. And I know you have some methodology to generate revenue and things of that nature. So let's talk about that. Like, you know, if an entrepreneur or even a professional who wants to start a side hustle in this environment, this impact revenue, is that the name of the methodology you use?
Immediate impact revenue, yeah.
Immediate impact revenue. Can we talk about that and how do you implement that? Yeah.
Sure. Well, there's 3 ways to grow a business. 3 ways: more clients, higher prices, and repeat sales. So, right, once you realize that, you're like, okay, that limits it. I don't have to guess anymore. Mm-hmm. So how do I get more clients? There's like, you know, 15 standard ways. How do I get higher prices? Raise them, right? And how do I get repeat sales? By stacking your offers, doing collaborations and joint ventures. Mm-hmm. So the first thing I do when I go to a company is I look at them, and I look at their competitors, and I look at the pricing. I say, okay, you need to raise your price X, Y, Z. No one ever buys the middleman. They buy cheap and they buy expensive. If you're in the middle, you're going to lose, right? You're not going to be like that vanilla envelope, right? So that's the first thing I do is we go in and we look at how can we generate revenue from what you already have. The quickest way is to raise your money. Second way, okay, you have an email list that I could write, that we could write to and tell them what's going on. Then you write the email list and inform them of an offer, whatever you have, what kind of relationship you have with them, it depends. And then we look at collaborations and joint ventures, collaborating products. Like if you sell a coffee cup, you can sell spoons with it from another company and get an affiliate sale, that kind of stuff. Right? There's just all kinds of things. Or, for instance, I had a client who, it's immediate impact revenue also has to do with dormant revenue. So revenue that's in your company that you haven't seen or you don't know how to grasp. And I had a client who was a construction company in Texas. And within the first hour, we found 150K. Wow. He was like, I just broke my record revenue in a year in 1 hour. You know, so it was like, wow. And that wasn't because I'm a smart guy. It's because I can see from the outside what you can't see from the inside. Mm-hmm. And most consultants can. So what I look for is, there's 32 ways to do those 3 things. more clients, higher price, repeat sales. 32 ways. I looked at 32 ways. If you're doing 10 of them, I'll just say, hey, here's 22 more. Wow. And boom, you're making money.
So are these 32 documented somewhere on your website, in your book, or how do you?
If you go to my website, steven-kuhn.com, I'll give you 8 of them for free.
Awesome.
So you can go down with the PDF, 8 of them for free. It tells you exactly what to do and how to do it.
Okay, cool.
And you'd be surprised how many people don't do this. I was on stage one time, and it was a producer, like an independent TV producer. So they had this TV series online. And I was on stage with this guy. They called me up, and they said, look, we're trying to grow our audience. How can we grow our audience? And in the audience was a T-shirt company, $150 million T-shirt company, the owner, and a coffee company, the owner. And I said, well, right now, I said, David, how many people do you have on your list? He's like 300,000. How many have you on your list? I like 150,000. Okay. He puts your products in his TV series, and you mail it out for him and get subscribers. They're like, deal. I did that on stage, like that quick. And then the guy's like, oh, I never thought of that. You don't know what you don't know. Mm-hmm. You just don't know what you don't know. So instantly, he became a millionaire.
Awesome.
They all subscribed for $6 a month to his, his very, very niche market. Very niche.
Got it. Great.
So veteran.
Awesome. And moving out of the business world a little bit, I know you focus a lot and you talk a lot about quality of life. So what is your emphasis on, what do you mean by quality of life, first of all? And so let's start there.
Quality of life is relative to everyone, but in general, it basically means integration of your body, your mind, your relationships, and business across the board. So I'm the same person I am at home, as I am at work, as I am at play, right? You see it often. Someone says, do you know who I am? I'm the CEO. Well, no, I'm sorry. That's what you are. That's not who you are. Who are you really? Mm-hmm. Right? So the who is important. Your identity is important, because if we have a litmus test for our leaders that we work with, if your wife was a fly on the wall in the office, would she recognize you? And if your employee was a fly on the wall in your house, would you be embarrassed that they were there? If that's the case, that means you're basically living a double life. You're this person. Look, we all want that purpose in life. And if that purpose is your job, like, I love doing what I do, and I could just live my life doing that. But I have a wife and kids who I love just as much.
Yeah.
But that's emotional. This is tactical. Like I can just do this. Just get up and do it. This is emotional. The results take longer. It's more work, that kind of stuff. So we like to focus on that quick results. I can touch it and bend it, right? So that's why a lot of people focus on their work, because they're looking for that fulfillment, right? Mm-hmm. They're looking for that immediate results. Like, I want to feel useful. I want to feel like I have a purpose. So they pour themselves into the job, but they're forgetting the rest of their life. And that's what quality of life is all about. It's about that integration across all channels, and so that you're actually present as the person you are all the way across all those channels of life.
That's great. And how do you implement? Like, can you give us some tactical steps on? I know you talk about self leadership and some similar concepts. So can we just sort of unwind this and give some practical tips to the audience?
Sure. There's so many, but we have in our book, Lane Balone and I, my partner, he's also a military veteran. We wrote a book called Unleash Your Humble Alpha. Mm-hmm. And it's all about what we're just talking about. And it starts with identity. The first thing you need, and I'm not saying, I never say you need, but the first thing that people need to do is find out who they really are. Uh-huh. A lot of times we pick up through our life, through the programming, through our parents, school, college, whatever, you end up like in your Ivy League person, so you dress like an Ivy League person, or you act like an Ivy League person, or whatever. You're a veteran, you act like a veteran, you wear the veteran t-shirt. So you end up carrying an identity that's not you. Mm-hmm. And you cling on to that because it's safe. You have something to talk about. You can be somebody that way. Right? And you shy away or never really dig deep to find out who you really are. So in our program, we work with you on, and in the book, we work with you on defining your identity. And the reason that's so important is because you will seldom find your purpose in life until you know who you are. Mm-hmm. Once you know who you are, it's easy to fill in the dots of what you can do. And then here it comes. Once you have your purpose, through finding your identity, your purpose amplifies your identity so that you're so present in all areas of life that people notice you and they want to be with you, they want to work with you, they want to do things with you. Like, this guy never wavers. This gal never wavers. They know who they are. They're just like, boom, there you are. And people want that in life. They want certainty in life. And that's exactly what identity and purpose leads to. Certainty. And the magic about certainty is when I'm certain about who I am and my purpose, I don't have to worry about where I got to go or how to get there, because I'm going, right? And of course, all based on HIIT, honesty, integrity, transparency. Yeah. So that's the first step of unleashing your humble alpha. And then it goes on to creation, and it goes on to creation instead of competition, and it goes into then leading to your teams, how you can make your teams into humble alphas, and it turns into quality of life, and how you can schedule your life out of quality of life. We have things like habit stacking, or creating new routines, and how that leads to a better life, and these kind of things. So it's a very cool book because we tell the story, we tell the lessons learned, we tell you how to do it, and then we give you action steps.
Awesome.
Every single chapter. So you tell a story about exactly how we came to this, because everything in this book is applied knowledge. None of it is theory. None of it. And for every single step that we tell you, we have a story of how we came to this model, this activity model we have. It came through our life. It came through us failing, achieving, winning, losing. So you see it in front of you. Story, how to do it, action plan.
Yeah. I completely resonate with that point about self-awareness and learning about yourself, because as you said, like we take on these identities which don't belong to us, and I think it leads to a lot of frustration in life, because you're not meant to be who you are trying to be, and things just don't work out. So that's very relevant. Now let's talk about a little bit of the negative side, the dark side of the mind. We are all going through some hardship right now. A lot of people are fearful, overwhelmed is what I can characterize it as. So any thoughts, any ideas that you want to share for people who are going through tough times?
Yeah, I can only speak from my own experience, and I think I suffer with that as well. I have PTSD. I'm a disabled veteran. I have dark thoughts all the time, and I have to deal with that. And the way I deal with that is I have people that care around me, who I can talk to, so I can get it out. You got to face that fear. You have to face that fear. You can't divert. You can't deny. You can't sort of push it away. You have to face it. As long as you don't face it, it'll always stay there. Fear. It's like when you go into a basement that's dark. It's scary. Flip on the damn light. Just flip the switch, right? That's the way I see fear. Fear is self-made. It's man-made. It's our. We make ourselves fearful because why? We're thinking about what might happen, and we go back again. Just stop and thinking about what might happen, and do something right now to make sure something does happen the way you want it to happen. Yeah. If you're waiting for something, if you're quarantine will be over, it'll be okay, whatever. Who knows, right? So do something now to make sure that you're on the right path for you and the ones you love in your life enterprise, to create that radiant value, so that you ensure that, look, the impact, people talk about saving the planet and global warming and oil, whatever stuff. You're not going to stand up and go save the planet. I'm not going to stand up and go save the planet. We can only start in our own world, and that starts up here. Your world starts right here. It starts right here. It is what you make of it. If I think everything's shit, it's going to be shit. Mm-hmm. If I think everything's going to be great, I will fight to make sure it's great, because I know I'm programming my mind to fire those neurons to make sure that's going to stay like that. Yeah. So the darkness comes from us. When you know the darkness comes from you, you're like, but Steve, there's COVID. I can't go to the pool. I can't do that. I can't go to work. I can't. Right, you can't right now. But what can you do? Yeah. Look at what you can do. There's a million things you can do. Get on the phone and talk to people. Get it out of your system, and you're going to feel lighter. You're going to feel more positive. You're going to, There's also steps you can take. I journal. I meditate. Right, twice a day. We have a group meditation at night, online, through audio call, all over the world. A bunch of us, not a big bunch, but a bunch of us, and that's how we deal with this stuff. And we talk a little bit afterwards, how we release it. All these kind of things. And people think, well, you're a business guy, you do all that kind of stuff. Like, hell yeah, I do that stuff. Yeah. If anyone thinks that meditation or journaling or is hokey, then they're not that far yet. Because I can tell you this, we all know we use that much of our capabilities. Yeah. So if you're not willing to learn every single day and teach every single day, then you might not reach the capacity that you're actually able to reach and live an amazing life with quality of life.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. So, I mean, whichever part of the world you are in, whatever situation you are in, the message is that the solutions lie within. Just it's all about our own mind, and then taking action. Obviously, just thinking about taking action is not going to do anything, but you got to take action, irrespective of whatever constraints whatever constraint you are in. You just got to figure out, what can we do right now rather than what can't we do, right?
Yeah, exactly. And it's difficult. I get it. People saying, "Yeah, like you said, that's easy for you to say, Steve. You're this, you're that, whatever." But if I told you that, when I was only homeless, 11 years ago, people were like, "Really? Yeah, really." It's like so. And I got myself there, but I also got myself out of there.
Yeah.
So I got myself there by thinking negative and saying, "Oh my God, it's over, it's done, I can't do it," that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But then suddenly it was over, and then I was good to go. So it really depends on us. And the active steps you can take is, the one step you should do is call people and ask for help. Like, honestly, look, I'm in a situation. Can you help me? No. Okay. You anybody can help me? No. Okay, good. Thanks. Bye. Next person. Hey, I'm in a situation. Can you help me? Just ask them.
Yeah.
Or is the pride too big? Is the ego too high? I don't have any pride when it comes to that, because I'm asking people that I'm willing to do something for. Like, I'm going to give value. I'm going to solve a problem for them, whatever it is. Look, let's talk. I mean, one of my favorite things to do now is to connect with people on LinkedIn who I haven't connected with before, who are actually in my network. I have like 10,000 contacts. Hey, let's hook up for a call. We get on the call and say, hey, what do you do? What do I do? And then go, no, I'm a cool guy. Let's keep in touch. Okay. I've already gotten a couple contracts, and I've got a job offer, which I don't take jobs, but I got a job offer just from doing that in the last few weeks.
Yeah.
And that's because I'm actively and proactively taking charge of my life. And I'm not waiting for anything to happen, anyone to do anything for me. I have no expectations of anything unless I do it myself, or I verbalize an expectation.
Yeah, that's great. Great advice. Self reliance is the first step. If we keep waiting for the governments or the neighbors or the voluntary organizations or the family to help us, they have got their own problems to deal with. So, that's great. Now, I want to also touch upon. Are we okay for time for another?
We're good.
Okay. You have built a huge brand online with social media and everything. I think moving forward, it is going to be even more important to have that brand, personal branding and credibility online. So can you give us some hints around, how one can get started? What can they do if they want to, establish themselves online?
Well, yeah, again, we'll start with that one thing I said before. What problem do you solve? And what's your demographic? I mean, who are you speaking to, right? So go to where they are. Like, for instance, I'm a veteran. So I went to a veteran group. When I first went online 3 years ago, I had no idea what I was doing, didn't know anything about online business, except for Facebook. I knew what Facebook was. And I went into a Facebook group with veterans and started giving free advice. So business advice. This is how you run your business, how you do marketing, this is how you fix this problem, that problem, this problem. And after 3 months, I had so many people coming to me to help them that I made $100,000 in 3 months online with zero overhead, sitting at home in front of a camera. In the same time, because I was doing that, my name was getting spread around. So I was also booked for 4 speeches, for keynotes in America.
Wow.
So they flew me over, within a 3-month period. It was crazy. But I did one thing. I found out who I was talking to, what their biggest problem was, and I solved it. Simple as that. It's literally that simple. If you go into groups and you give without wanting, that's the key thing. People say, well, when you go in there and you give them the video, you got to tell them the what, but not the how. Or you got to, talk about the why and all this kind of stuff. No, they have a problem. You solve it. You win. Done. Right? That's it.
Don't hold back, right?
Yeah, don't hold back. Don't hold back on the value that you can give, because I'll tell you what, they say 80-20 rule, right? 20% take action, 80%, sits on their finger in their nose. It's more like 6%, 6% take action. The other ones that would take action, they ask you to do it for them. And that's who pays you to do it. And they're happy to pay you to do it.
I see. That's cool. That's great. Well, thank you so much for being with us today and sharing your thoughts. Very interesting journey, very interesting way that you conduct business and your life. So thanks a lot for sharing that. Now, before I let you go, you mentioned your website. Can you mention it again? And any book that you or anything that you wanna share with the audience?
Yeah, the website is humblealphabook.com. Right, and my private website is steven-kuhn.com, and business website is QOLenterprises.com. QOL stands for quality of life, of course.
Awesome. That's great.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being with us again, and hope to have you again on this podcast.
Hey, brother. Anytime you need me, let me know. Anytime we want to talk, let's chat. Love it, man. Really, thank you so much for the conversation. It was great.
Thank you so much.